The screams tear through the walls, rattling picture frames, burrowing into their skulls. It's been hours. The sound doesn't just fill the house, it owns it. It pulses through every breath, every thought, turning exhaustion into something sharp and desperate. It scrapes against their nerves, drains their energy, wears them down. Emily paces the nursery, bouncing baby Lily in her arms, whispering soft reassurances. Sweat beads on her forehead. Nothing is working. Jason sags against the doorframe, his knuckles pressing into his forehead. His fingers twitch, halfway between rubbing his eyes and clawing at his temples. He's not just tired, he's unraveling. They've tried everything, rocking, feeding, swaddling, lullabies, every trick in the book, and still, the cries only get louder. Lily's face is red with frustration, tiny fists clenched, legs kicking wildly. Emily sighs, shifting her weight as she tries one more time to settle her daughter. Jason checks his phone. 2:37 a.m. "Let me try," he says, stepping forward. Emily hesitates, reluctant to hand over the inconsolable infant. But finally, she does. Jason cradles Lily against his chest, swaying gently, murmuring softly. Her tiny body stiffens. Then, another ear-splitting wail. He clenches his jaw, squeezing his eyes shut for a second. Behind them, on the other side of the room, a shadow shifts. The family dog. She's been watching, not in the absent way pets do, but with unwavering intensity, like she's waiting, like she knows something they don't. She's been lying in the corner for hours, ears flicking at every scream, eyes locked onto Lily with quiet intensity. She doesn't move, not yet. But something in her posture is different. She's alert, focused. The parents are too distracted to notice. Jason rubs his forehead. "I don't know what else to do." His voice is tight, laced with frustration and helplessness. Emily sighs, rubbing her tired eyes. And then, the dog, Maggie, stands up. Maggie moves with quiet purpose, her paws barely making a sound against the floor as she inches toward the crib. Her head tilts slightly, ears twitching at every sharp inhale of the crying baby. Emily notices first, blinking through her exhaustion as she watches Maggie's slow, deliberate steps. "What is she doing?" she murmurs, voice thick with fatigue. Jason glances over, eyebrows knitting together. Maggie has never reacted to Lily like this before. She stops just beside the crib, her body low, tail still, not wagging, not tense, just waiting. Lily screams again, kicking wildly, her tiny face scrunched with frustration. The parents expect Maggie to back away, maybe even flinch at the noise, but instead, she rises onto her hind legs. Carefully, she rests her front paws on the edge of the crib, her nose barely an inch from the writhing infant. Jason instinctively steps forward, unsure whether to pull her away, but something stops him. Maggie doesn't look at them, doesn't react to their concern. Her entire focus is on Lily. Then something strange happens. Her ears relax, her breathing slows, and then she hums. A low, soft vibration, almost musical, rumbles from her chest. It's not a growl, not a whimper, something different, something soothing. The sound rolls through the room, steady, deep, deliberate. The parents exchange a look, confusion flickering between them. They've never heard her make this sound before. Lily keeps crying, fists shaking, legs kicking, but Maggie doesn't move. She stays there, humming, watching, waiting. The hum lingers in the air, low and steady, almost rhythmic. It vibrates through the crib, through the space between them, wrapping around the room like an invisible thread. The baby's scream cracks, like a fault line splitting, a hiccup, a sharp inhale. And then a strange, eerie pause. A flicker of confusion crosses her tiny, tear-streaked face, and just like that, the crying stops. The silence is deafening, too sudden, too complete. The air feels heavier, charged, like something unseen has just passed through the room. The parents freeze, their breath caught in their throats. Emily's fingers press over her lips as she watches the impossible unfold. Jason's grip tightens on the crib rail, his heart pounding. Lily, who had been screaming non-stop, now lies still, her wide, watery eyes locked onto Maggie. She blinks, slow and heavy. Her tiny fists uncurl. Her chest rises and falls in steady, even breaths. And then, as if controlled by some unseen force, her eyelids flutter and she sleeps, just like that. Jason exhales sharply, blinking like he's just woken from a dream. Emily's hand shakes slightly as she reaches out, almost afraid to break the moment. Did that just happen?" she whispers, barely able to speak. Jason shakes his head, eyes still locked on the crib. "I don't know." Maggie, still perched on the edge of the crib, remains motionless. She doesn't wag her tail, doesn't move an inch. She just stares, watching, protecting, as if this was exactly what she meant to do all along. The only sound in the room now is the quiet, steady breathing of Lily and the parents' pounding hearts. The silence in the room feels almost unnatural, like the air itself is holding its breath. Emily steps forward cautiously, peering down at Lily, half expecting her to stir, to start crying again. But she doesn't. She's completely still, her tiny fingers twitching slightly in sleep. Jason swallows hard, his eyes shifting to Maggie, who remains poised beside the crib, her body tense, not in fear, not in excitement, but in pure focus. Emily whispers, That wasn't normal." Jason runs a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "It's gotta be a coincidence," he mutters, but there's no conviction in his voice. They stand there, staring at their baby, staring at Maggie, trying to make sense of what just happened. The hum, the instant silence, the way Lily locked eyes with Maggie as if she understood. It wasn't just that the crying stopped, it stopped the moment Maggie made that sound. Emily shakes her head, stepping back, her heart pounding. "Try moving her." Jason hesitates, then gently shifts Lily in the crib. Nothing. She doesn't stir. He places a hand on her back. Still nothing. Just soft, steady breaths. Maggie's ears flick. She lowers herself down from the crib, settling onto the floor beside it, curling her body around the base, like a mother guarding her child. Emily reaches for her phone, pulling up a search bar with shaky hands. Can dogs calm crying babies? Dozens of results pop up. Stories of dogs comforting infants, of pets reacting to distress, of unexplainable connections. But nothing about this. Nothing about a sound so perfectly soothing that it could silence a baby instantly. Jason exhales, still watching Maggie, still trying to convince himself that this isn't something more. But deep down, in the part of him that logic can't reach, he knows something else is happening here. The silence lingers, heavy and unnatural, as if the house itself is adjusting to this new reality. The parents don't speak, don't move, both of them locked in a state of disbelief. But then, as if the universe refuses to let the moment settle, Lily stirs. A small whimper, a sharp inhale, the beginning of another cry. Jason tenses, expecting the wailing to start all over again. Emily grips his arm, her pulse hammering. Wait. They don't rush to soothe her. They don't pick her up. Instead, they watch. Maggie, who had been curled beside the crib, lifts her head immediately. Her ears flick forward, her body shifting as she rises onto all fours. She's ready. And then, just like before, she hums. Low, deep, controlled. The parents hold their breath. Lily lets out one last shaky sob, her little chest rising in a stuttering breath. And then she goes still. The whimper fades. Her tiny body relaxes. Silence. Jason lets out a sharp exhale, almost a laugh, but there's no humor in it, just shock. Emily covers her mouth, her eyes wide. It's real. They can't deny it. Maggie isn't guessing. She isn't trying random things. She knows. Jason, still reeling, grabs his phone. "I need to record this." They set up a baby monitor, then place a second camera by the crib. They need proof. The next night, the same thing happens. Lily stirs. Maggie moves. The hum fills the air, and the crying stops. Instantly. Then, something even stranger happens. Something neither of them expect. A tiny, trembling hand reaches out. Slow. Intentional. The baby isn't just reaching, she's seeking. Her tiny fingers graze Maggie's fur through the crib bars. A soft, shuddering breath escapes her lips, a sigh of pure relief. She knows. And Maggie? She doesn't move, doesn't flinch. She just stays, watching, protecting. She presses her nose gently into Lily's palm. A soft, quiet sigh escapes the infant's lips, as if she knows, as if she understands. The parents stand there, speechless. Emily finally whispers, "She's not just calming her, she's protecting her." This isn't a fluke. It's not a coincidence. It's something else entirely. The house feels different now, quieter, calmer. There's no more frantic pacing, no more helpless exhaustion, no more endless, piercing wails that send waves of frustration and guilt through their exhausted bodies. Lily still stirs in the night, still wakes with tiny, restless movements, but she never cries for long. Because before she even has the chance, Maggie is already there. It happens every time. Maggie lifts her head, moves with quiet certainty, rests her paws on the crib, and hums. And it always works. The parents have given up trying to explain it. They don't need to. They don't need a scientific reason, don't need to dissect why or how. They just know that their dog, this gentle, patient, mothering soul, understands their baby in a way they never could. One evening, Emily watches from the nursery doorway, arms folded, eyes soft with something deeper than gratitude. Maggie is curled beside the crib again, her own puppies nestled against her, warm and safe. Lily sleeps soundly above them, her tiny fingers wrapped loosely around Maggie's fur through the crib bars. Jason steps up beside her, watching the peaceful scene. "She's more than just a pet," Emily whispers, voice thick with emotion. "She's her guardian." Jason nods. He knows it's true. From that night on, Maggie never sleeps alone. She stays by the crib night after night, a silent protector, a second Emily. And whenever Lily cries, Maggie is there, not just to soothe, not just to hum, but to make sure she never feels alone. Some connections don't need words. Some bonds go beyond what we can explain. This dog didn't just calm Lily, she understood her. Whether it was maternal instinct, an unseen force, or something deeper, one thing is certain, this wasn't just coincidence. But now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen an animal do something incredible like this? A moment that left you speechless, something that made you believe they understand far more than we give them credit for? Let us know in the comments below. And if this story moved you, if it made you believe in the unspoken connection between animals and humans, hit that like button. It helps more people see this story and reminds us all that sometimes love and protection come from the most unexpected places. Make sure you're subscribed for more incredible stories like this, and we'll see you in the next one.